أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على أرسل المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آل محمد أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله رب اشرح لي صدري يسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you for joining. Today our beloved Imam Muhammad Cebli is a little busy with the election what's going on in ISCJ, so he will not be able to with us, but alhamdulillah he came for a few brief seconds and give a salam to everyone, and he requested everyone to make dua for him. So inshallah we'll go from there. At this moment of time, I requested our beloved brothers Islam to conduct the Halaqa for today, and inshallah I believe that he will be discussing on the significance of the Surah Al-Nur, and we'll go from there, and I would like to give the microphone to Brother Islam.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I don't think I'm in a position to run the show. Anyway, so if you want to read the surah, if you want to read, if you want to read the Surah Al-Nur, you're welcome, and we can go sentence by sentence. Somebody can read it, and we can learn the meaning and interpretation of these things.
Can somebody read it in Arabic?
Yeah, can anyone read it in Arabic? If not, I read it.
You go ahead, Islam bhai.
Okay, thank you. Bismillah. Microphone goes away here and there.
Islam bhai, first 20 verses or so will be good, because we may not be able to finish the
only 20 verses is good enough, we can discuss. So this is the surah number 24 in the Quran al-Karim, and the surah itself given an introduction in the first sentence. If you read it, it says Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Suratun anzalnaha wa faradnaha wa anzalna fiha ayatin bayyinatin la'allakum tadhakkarun. It says that this is a surah which we have revealed to you. This surah, the whole surah, Surah Al-Nur, we have revealed to you, which we have made obligatory. The whole surah is made obligatory. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it obligatory for us. There is no other surah that kind of comment in the Quran. I haven't seen so far that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the whole surah obligatory. But in this case, because it has so many of these Sharia and punishment and other things, that Allah made it compulsory, obligatory for every Muslim to follow and follow it closely. So the first one, the instructions come about the adulterer and adulteress. That the adulteress and adulterer flog each one of them with 100 stripes. There are a lot of adulterer and adulteress, and the punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that each of them, men and women separately, that we should flog them with 100 stripes, and let not pity for them to take hold of you in judgment of Allah. And you should not make pity on them and make it easy, this striping. That's what Allah says. And if you believe in Allah and last day, and let a party of the believers witness their punishment. The party of the believer, those who believe in the Quran, those who are Muslims, those who believe in Allah, some people should witness that punishment. So basically, if adulterer and adulteress, we find them, we're convinced that they did it, then the punishment is 100 stripes for each of them without any mercy. Can you, Mr. Bhai, can I explain it further? You're good in that.
No, Islam Bhai, you go continue, please.
Okay. Now, so the second one is that ayah number 3 is that the adulterer shall not marry but an adulteress. That means those who are bad men will marry the bad women. Adulterer will marry an adulteress. And an adulteress, the women adulteress, shall not marry but an adulterer. So the adulteress woman, if she wants to marry, she will find an adulterer or an adulterous man. This indeed is forbidden to the believers, because it's forbidden for the believers to marry the adulterer and adulteress. They will marry themselves. That's what it says. Is it clear to everybody? I hope.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay. The number 4 is number 4 is more the real thing coming up. It says that, and those who accuse chaste women but not bringing a full witness. Now, how do you find the adulterer and adulteress? Someone has to see them and they're doing this bad job. So those people who accuse the chaste women, I mean not the adulterer women, but the chaste women, but bring not 4 witnesses, and they accuse the chaste women, but they don't bring 4 witnesses. Somebody accuses a chaste women, but do not bring 4 witnesses, flog them with 80 stripes. Flog that guy and people with him, 80 stripes each. I mean, if you bring a false complaint, you get the punishment back if you don't show 4 of them. And never admit that evidence. And if they become witness, never accept a witness, and it is they that are the transgressors. So the rule is very clear that if you bring the accusation against a chaste woman, you should bring 4 witnesses who can stand witness and say by Allah that they have saw it, or whatever way it is. And those accusers, if they cannot bring 4 witnesses, they get 80 stripes, each of them. But if he can prove that there are 4 witnesses, the man and the women separated with 100 stripes. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So this is about separately, I mean, men and women who are not husband and wives. But the next ayah is between husband and wife. If husband and wife, one of them become adulteress or adulterer, who will accuse them? Nobody has seen anything. So it says, and as for those who accuse their wives and have no witness except themselves, the man accuses their wife, but he doesn't have a witness. The evidence of any one of such people shall be sufficient if he bears witness 4 times in the name of Allah. So what he does, the man will kirakara, I mean, what the word?
Swearing.
Man will swearing in the name of Allah that she has done it, that he is similar to those who speak the truth, and he will certify himself he is speaking the truth. So this in the name of Allah, he will certify himself, he will tell the people that yes, he knows that his wife has done it 4 times. Matter doesn't end in there. The worse is worse than ayah number 7 and his 5th oath. The 4 times in the name of Allah, he accused his wife, but in the 5th case, that Allah's curse will be upon him if he be of the liars. And he will take an oath that Allah's curse will be on me if I am the liar. And that is the key point. That's a key point. So the matter is between the husband and wife. If the husband says that his wife has adulterer, then he is to say by the name of Allah, by the taking the oath of Allah 4 times, and he is speaking the truth. And the 5th time he will say, if he does not speak the truth, that Allah's curse be upon him. Fifth time. Any question? It's really serious, you know. But the next one is ayah number 8. But it shall avoid the punishment from her. So she's going to get the punishment, but she can avoid the punishment. How? If she bears witness 4 times, like the man did, 4 times she bears witness in the name of Allah, saying that he is of the liar, and her husband is a liar. So then she doesn't have the punishment. And for the 5th time, the lady who is taking the oath, the 5th time she should say that the wrath of Allah be upon her if he speaks the truth. If he speaks the truth, the wrath, the anger of Allah will be on the women. So okay. Finally, number 10. And
ইসলাম ভাই, এখানে আমার একটু কোশ্চেন আছে নাম্বার যেটা বললেন, এই যে তারা যখন সোয়ারিং করে বললো, যেভাবেই বললো, তারা তো ইচ্ছা করলে সোয়ারিং করেও মিথ্যা কথা বলতে পারে, রাইট?
পারে।
তার মানে
so Allah brings the fifth condition, saying that on the 5th time he will say that if he is of the liars, Allah's curse will be on him. That means he is bringing Allah's wrath or curse or anger upon himself, which is very serious thing, and is going to fall on him.
So basically, this is a very good learning for us, and that's why we just
absolutely we should know this thing. You know, we just say that this lady is this and that man is this, he's bad, he's good, but we don't have no witness. We'll get 80 stripes.
That's why. And another thing I heard, you can correct me, that আমরা যেমন খুব randomly আমরা আল্লাহর নাম নিয়ে swearing করি, এটা বলে ফেলি, ওটা বলে ফেলি. This is very dangerous thing, and very dangerous thing. We should not do that, and especially for the young folks, very careful when you do swear by God or something. Never do that if you don't know or don't make any assumptions. Okay. And it is including myself. I have to.
So whatever I have read the first ruku, then let's summarize it. That Allah has made this surah obligatory for us, so that we follow it. I mean, no handwriting, no human writing, and no committees, no fiqh committees, no ijtihad, nothing. You follow the Quran. It's made obligatory for you, and Allah says the rules and regulations there. So the adulterer the adulterer will get 100 stripes, and the adulteress will get 100 stripes if they are convicted. So the next ayah says the adulterer shall not marry any good person, but he will marry the adulteress, and an adulteress will marry an adulterer. I mean, they are the same category, so let them get married. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want to bring any good people into them.
But good people যদি না জানে, if that good person doesn't know that she is or he is like that, then what is going to happen?
And this is entirely depends on Allah, whether they know it or they don't know it. Okay. It all depends on Allah, because he is the all-knower. And so the next one comes in, then we accuse in right and left.
Illa bhai, are you saying something? Because I see you are in a mute, but you are talking.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm on mute. Yeah. So, Islam bhai, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
So, আপনি যে বললেন যে মাশাআল্লাহ খুব ভালো, কিন্তু যারা ডিসবিলিভার যারা, তাদের বেলা প্রযোজ্য না এই আয়াত?
No, they don't come in. It's only for the believers.
Only for
the believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not include the disbelievers here. Because disbelievers are disbelievers. They lie, they cheat, they are munafiqun, they're all kinds of things, and Allah doesn't impose anything on them. They're on their way. But this is for the mu'minun, those who are believers.
Yeah.
Those who are believers.
আরেকটা প্রশ্ন হলো যে এখানে বলা শুধু মেইল, আমি লক্ষ্য করলাম অনলি মেইল মেল কমপ্লেনার্স, কিন্তু যদি যে কমপ্লেইন করে যদি ফিমেল হয় তাহলে কি হবে? তার বেলা কি সেটা কি তখন সেটা প্রযোজ্য না?
মেল মেল accuse করে female that she is an adulterer, then he has to bring 4 witnesses. You just cannot say that she's an adulterer. You have to bring 4 witnesses. Those 4 witnesses will come and by the name of Allah will speak the truth and accuse her. If you find, but if you cannot produce, that you accuse her but you cannot produce 4 witnesses, then you get 80 stripes because you're a false accuser.
কিন্তু যদি কোনো ফিমেল কমপ্লেইন করে,
The same thing.
Same thing.
The same thing. The same thing, if the female complain to the man that he's an adulterer, then she has to bring 4 witnesses. The man or woman doesn't matter. But if she cannot bring 4 witnesses, she gets 80 stripes.
আমি এখানে
একটা
একটা কমেন্ট করি বিল ভাই, যে আপনি বলতেছেন যে ডিসবিলিভার, all the message that God sent to the human being, and he is not saying believer or disbeliever, but if he is according to us is disbeliever, then everything, all bets are off. উনি সে তো প্রথমেই তো ডিসবিলিভ করে, কিন্তু এমন না যে কি ডিসবিলিভার করতে পারবে বিলিভাররা করতে পারবে না, দ্যাটস নট দ্য থিং। Disbeliever is disbeliever, so Allah তাদের উপরে আগে থেকে কাজ করে দিয়েছে disbeliever because of their disbelief. That's my interpretation. ইসলাম ভাই কি বলেন?
আমি বলছি যে আয়াত নাম্বার 2 তে লেখা আছে শেষের দিকে যে যারা নাকি পানিশমেন্ট দিবে, let a group of mu'minun believer watch that punishment. So this is for the believers.
বিলিভার, কিন্তু তার অর্থ এই না যে ডিসবিলিভাররা করলো তাদের কোনো সিন হবে না, সেটা না। ডিসবিলিভার তো প্রথম থেকেই সিন দেয়ার।
হ্যাঁ, প্রথমই সিন, that already they're sinful. I mean, what good is it if you give them the rules and regulations? They don't believe it.
Yeah, they don't believe it. That's what it is.
They don't believe in that. But this is for the believer, for the Muslims who believe in Quran, who believe in Allah, and believe all the kinds of things. But often Muslim there, yeah. But often we see that in the Islamic world, these adulterers, we throw stones, we put their half on the ground and throw stones and kill them. Now, Muslim, the other, they ask the questions, why we made these things? This is man-made, simply man-made. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never authorized Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to put a new rules regulation in the name of religion to anybody, because religion is from Allah, nobody else. He doesn't let anybody else to put the rules, religious rules in this world. So Allah never told us.
Ikram Bhai has raised hand. He wants to probably say something.
Let me finish. Ikram Bhai, give me a minute. And so Allah never authorized our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do this. Our Prophet did not authorize the Khulafa Rashidin that will make up these rules. The Khulafa Rashidin never authorized the Mu'minun that will make up these rules. We make a committee, we write books, which Allah has prohibited, and show you the reference, and write books and get into this problem and put all the rules and regulations, Sharia in the name of the Allah, in the name of the Quran. In Quran, there is the Sharia is in the Quran. Outside is the human Sharia, human rules, nothing else. Okay, Ikram, sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Mamun bhai. এটা হলো যে আমাদের বিল্লাহ ভাই যে প্রশ্নটা করছিলেন যে এটা কি মেয়েদের আর ছেলেদের উভয়ের জন্য নাকি, কিন্তু আয়াত 4, 5, 6 সবকটা আয়াতে ক্লিয়ারলি বলা আছে যে দিস ইজ ফর ওমেন, দোজ হু অ্যাকিউজ চেস্ট ওমেন। এখানে কোনো ওমেন accusing a man, not clearly said, not definitely said. So এখানে যদি আমরা বলি যে এটা man and woman for applicable for both, will it be justified or not? That's my question.
I don't know, but I think since it's an example of a man, why not it will be the example for women? Women can accuse a man of being adulterer. What's the problem with this? That human being is the
That is,
truth.
I'm not asking the problem. I'm asking whether we are following the writings of Qurans or not. That's why I'm asking.
The Quran did not prohibit this.
Uh,
The Quran did not prohibit any women to accuse any man of adultery.
Yeah, for the punishment, you know, in the earlier verse, it looks like the punishment should be given to when there is man and woman both involved. Of course, in adultery, both has to be involved. Then punishment should be the same for both.
Yeah.
But go to the next few ayat, and every ayat is clearly mentioned that if the accuser is man and accused is female. So in that case, I think we should not conclude anything unless we go further in depth. And that's my view. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think, in fact, Ikram very clearly explained my concern. I think that's what I noted, that struck me, that is clearly mentioned, it is male who complains, nothing about the female complainer. So yeah, I think Islam Bhai, we're going to think about that.
Okay. Verse 2 says this. Verse 2 says, strike the adulteress and the adulterer
Both
100 times.
Okay, I see. Good. I see. Okay.
So that means that the punishment is same for both.
For both. Yeah.
And so for the subsequent ayah that we have, you know, wife versus husband, then we can assume that if the punishment is same for both, in this case also it will be same for both.
Yeah. So that is an example. Oh yeah. So
Punishment or remedy.
Okay. Okay.
We cannot accept that only man will be the accuser to the women, and the women has nothing to say. Allah doesn't distribute it like that.
আচ্ছা ইসলাম ভাই, আমার একটা প্রশ্ন আছে এখানে, যে এখন ওখানে বলা আছে যে 4 জন, you need a 4 witness for that, right? If any of the adulterer or adulteress agree that yes, I did that thing, will that 4 accusers is not needed? সে তো নিজে এগ্রি করছে।
I think, to my understanding, we bring the witnesses to prove the fact. But if a man or the women agrees himself that we did it, we don't need 4 witnesses.
Right.
The purpose of the 4 witnesses is to convict him or her to find the truth. And if she agrees or he agrees that yes, we did it, we don't need 4 witnesses.
Okay.
Okay, now sorry.
Go ahead.
আমার একটা কোশ্চেন আছে, সেটা হচ্ছে যে আমাদের এই আমেরিকার কনটেক্সটে এই যত কিছু আমরা পড়ছি কোরআনে এবং শরিয়া ল যেটা পড়ছি, উই ডু নট ইম্পোজ ইট ইন আমেরিকা, রাইট? সো এখন আমেরিকাতে যদি এরকম হয় যে কারোর হাজব্যান্ড অ্যাডাল্ট্রি করছে এবং ওয়াইফ সেটা জানে, এবং ওয়াইফ 4 জন উইটনেসও আনতে পারবে, কিন্তু তার তো এই কোরআনিক ভাবে যেভাবে রুলস এন্ড রেগুলেশন দেওয়া আছে এইভাবে তার শাস্তি হবে না, সেই ক্ষেত্রে কি হবে?
মামুন, তোমার কোশ্চেন খুব ভালো কোশ্চেন, এবং আমার ওয়াইফ এর একবার উঠেছিল। কিন্তু কোরআন একটা আয়াত আছে, if you live in a country whether Islamic or non-Islamic, if the rules and regulations are there, you have to follow them. You have to follow their rules and regulations, whatever the punishment is. You don't fight or you don't impose a Quranic law in another country, then there will be chaos. That's what many people try to do. You know, but the Quran clearly says, I don't remember the ayah, but I remember the fact, because my wife brought it up to me, that if you live in a country, foreign country, own country, the rules of the country may be different than the Quranic ayah, and you have to follow those rules as a citizen of that country.
There's also a history to this, Rambai. You know, historically there are 2 categories of countries: Darul Islam, Darul Harb. Darul Islam holo jekhane Islamic rule follow kora hoy, আর Darul Harb holo jekhane Islamic rule is not followed, যেমন America or any other non-Islamic country. So Darul Harb regulations different.
Home of Islam in the Islamic state, and Darul in the home state.
Okay, so Darul Harb holo je jekhane Islam follow kora hoy na. To Mamun, to answer your question, it has been addressed many centuries ago, and the verdict is that, you know, in Darul Harb you follow the local law. You cannot impose or you cannot practice the Islamic law there.
না আমি বলতে চাচ্ছি যে মনে করেন যে যদি সেই মহিলা জাস্টিফাই তার ক্লেমকে জাস্টিফাই করা হয় না বা তাকে পানিশমেন্ট দেওয়া হলো না হাজবেন্ডকে, সেই ক্ষেত্রে কি আল্লাহর পক্ষ থেকে তো অবশ্যই শাস্তি একটা হবে তার, রাইট?
বুঝলাম না।
মনে করেন যে আমি খুব সুন্দর উদাহরণ দেই এবং এটা মনে হয় যে এরকম বহুত পাবেন যে হাজবেন্ড ওয়াইফের মাঝখানে হাজবেন্ড অ্যাডাল্ট্রি করছে এবং ওয়াইফ সামহাউ নোজ ইট এন্ড ওয়াইফ হ্যাভ দ্য উইটনেস, এবং যেহেতু আপনার মহিলারা অনেকটাই উইকার দিকে, যার ফলে তারা অনেক সময় উইন করতে পারে না, সেই ক্ষেত্রে মনে করেন তার কোনো ওই ছেলের কোনো পানিশমেন্ট হলো না, কিছুই হলো না, এবং হয়তো তাদের একটা পর্যায়ে গিয়ে হয়তো ডিভোর্স হয়ে গেল, কিন্তু সে ছেলেটা যে এই অন্যায় কাজটা করলো, আল্লাহর পক্ষ থেকে তার শাস্তিটা কি হবে?
তুমি কি বিল ক্লিনটনের কথা বলছো না?
আমার মনে হয় কি, আমার যে ধারণা যে ইসলাম ভাই যেটা বললেন যে আমাদের দেশে এখানে মনে করেন আমেরিকায় যে ল আছে সেই ল উইল প্রিভেইল, বাট আফটার দ্যাট সে যখন আল্লাহর কাছে যাবে হি উইল বি পানিশড।
এটাই আমি জানতে চাচ্ছি, সেটা আমি জানতে চাচ্ছি। এটা ফর ম্যান এন্ড ওমেন বোথ, বিকজ ফর ম্যান এন্ড ওমেন yeah, go ahead.
If it is an Islamic country, they will be punished or they will be judged according to the Islamic law. If it is not an Islamic country and somebody do adultery, the wife has always a chance to complain, either for divorce or for punishment. The state will take care of it.
আমার মনে হয় মামুনের কোশ্চেনটা হচ্ছে, আই এম সরি মামুন, তুমি আমাকে কারেক্ট মি ইফ আই এম রং, যে তাহলে যে পানিশমেন্টটা হলো না ইসলাম ভাই এই কান্ট্রিতে থাকার জন্য, হ্যাঁ, সো it is the country's responsibility to give the punishment which may or may not be aligned to Islamic Sharia, right? যদি এটা ইসলামিক শরিয়ার সাথে অ্যালাইন না হয় সে কোনো পানিশমেন্ট পেল না, কিন্তু যখন আল্লাহর কাছে যাবে then he will punish it, of course.
So in that case, Mahaboy, you have a choice. Allah has given you a choice. If you live in a country where you cannot perform religious rituals or religious laws, or you cannot pray, or you go to the mosque, or you can't follow it, then Allah has given you a chance to immigrate to other countries where you can do it.
আরে আমি ইমিগ্রেট করে তো লাভ নাই, আমার যার সাথে সম্পর্কে আমি ওই বেটা যদি ইমিগ্রেন্ট না হয় তাহলে তার পানিশমেন্ট আমি কেমনে দিব?
সেজন্য সবচেয়ে সিম্পল হচ্ছে let us assume that
you have a right to
divorce যখন যাবে সেটাই তার পানিশমেন্ট তার কাছে।
You have a right to divorce.
প্রশ্নটা করার পেছনে মেইন কারণটা হচ্ছে যে you will find thousands of situation like this, যে যারা পানিশমেন্ট পায় না এবং তাদের ওয়াইফ বা তাদের হাজবেন্ডদের মেন্টাল স্যাটিসফ্যাকশনের জন্য, as a Muslim, is there any ayah or anything that tells that if you do adultery and if your spouse knows it and there is no punishment being done on the other side who did the adultery, that Allah will give him a big punishment or he will go to hell or whatever it is? তাহলে হবে কি আরেকটা পার্সনের হয়তো একটু মেন্টাল স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন পাবে যে আচ্ছা শাস্তি সে পায় নাই, বাট আল্লাহ তো আছে, আল্লাহ will punish him.
Yeah, there's a lot of I would say to stay away from adultery. Stay away from adultery, and if you do this adultery, Allah will punish you. Lot of ayahs.
আলহামদুলিল্লাহ, এটাই আমি জানতে চেয়েছিলাম।
আমার আরেকটা কোশ্চেন আছে।
আপনি যাওয়ার আগে আমি আরেকটা জিনিস একটু বলি, সেটা হচ্ছে যে মধ্যে মধ্যে আমাদের মুসলে ভাই অনেক কথা বলে, ওই মুহূর্তে মনে হয় যে আচ্ছা উনি বলছে, আচ্ছা এটা কি বললো, কিন্তু পরে আমি যত আস্তে আস্তে যাই আমি দেখি যে তার কথার অনেক ভালো ভালো মিনিং আছে। তো একটা সময় উনি আমাকে বলেছিল যে তুমি যখন কোরআনের অর্থ পড়বা, ওই ব্রেকেটারটা মানুষের কথা, এটা কোরআনের কথা না। and he is really absolutely right, because এই ওইটা থেকে আজকের এই যে 8 নম্বর যে আয়াটা আছে, এই 8 নম্বর আয়ার মধ্যে যে স্টোনিং করে ডেথের যে কথাটা এসছে, this is within the parenthesis, so this is a man made, so Quran didn't say that stoning to death, it is that someone wrote it in the parenthesis.
Mamun, we have to have a conviction we have to understand one thing. Then we are Muslims. That means we believe in Allah, we believe in Quran, we believe in angels, we believe in messengers and everything. We believe in that. And we have, if something is written in the Quran and we don't follow it, add something human writing with that. It calls you make a shirk. And you're associating something with Allah's word. So it becomes shirk. And shirk. To deny Allah's ayah is one thing that will make a mistake. But intentionally we make shirk and bring something else in the name of our prophet or whatever it is, which doesn't support the Quran. They will make a shirk and it's a severe punishment. Allah will never forgive it.
Yes.
If you
Yeah.
deny
ইসলাম
Allah's
ভাই,
word,
আমি
Allah,
একটু অ্যাড করি এখানে, এই যে অ্যাডাল্টারি, এই যে স্টোনিং টু ডেথ, কোরআনে এটা কোনো জায়গায় লেখা নেই, স্টোনিং টু ডেথ ফর এনি অফেন্স। কোরআন কমপ্লিটলি অ্যাবসেন্ট। ইসলাম ভাই, আমার কথাটা শেষ হয়নি।
আচ্ছা,
কিন্তু কোরআনে নেই, কিন্তু এটা বাইবেলে আছে, ওল্ড টেস্টামেন্টে আছে, নিউ টেস্টামেন্টে আছে।
how do you know that it's in the Bible?
আমি পড়েছি ইসলাম ভাই, আমি পড়েছি।
Bible or মিথ্যা?
ইসলাম ভাই, আমাকে শেষ করতে দেন। আমি পড়েছি, দুটোই ওখানে আছে। সেখানে আজকে যারা খ্রিস্টান অথবা ইহুদি, তারা এটা ফলো করে না, যদিও তাদের গ্রন্থে আছে, দে ডোন্ট ফলো ইট। আমাদের গ্রন্থে নেই, we are following it, but we are following it. I mean, what a what do you call what's the word? What a
who authorized it?
absurdity. This is absurdity. This is absurdity that আমাদের গ্রন্থে নেই সেটা আমরা ফলো করছি, আর যাদের গ্রন্থে আছে তারা ফলো করছে না।
This is also hypocrisy.
যদি কেউ চায় ওল্ড টেস্টামেন্ট এন্ড নিউ টেস্টামেন্টের রেফারেন্স টু অ্যাডাল্টারি, টু স্টোনিং, I can give it to them, later today. So there's no problem. But আমাদেরটা যেটা নেই, সেটা কেউ কখনো প্রডিউস করতে পারেনি। I had challenge with my colleagues and my কোথাও কোনো ক্রাইমের জন্য কোথাও কোরআন শরীফে স্টোনিং এর কথা নেই, অথচ এটা আমাদের কালচারের মধ্যে ঢুকে গেছে।
এই যে যেমন 8 নম্বর আয়াতে বলেছে, বাট ইফ শ্যাল এভার্ট দ্য পানিশমেন্ট, এন্ড ব্র্যাকেটে লিখে দিয়েছে অফ স্টোনিং টু ডেথ। সো এখানে এই জন্য আমি বললাম যে যেহেতু মুসলে ভাই বলেছে, এখন আমি আর প্যারেন্থেসিসের জিনিসটা আই ডু নট স্টিক টু ইট, বিকজ নাও কোশ্চেন হচ্ছে হোয়াট ইজ দ্য মিনিং অফ এভার্ড। 8 নম্বরটা যদি পড়েন,
avoid,
AVERT, avoid. So it shall avoid the punishment of bracket লিখেছে of stoning to death from her.
আমি একটু ব্যাক করতে চাই, মুসলিম ভাইয়ের একটা আনসার দিতে চাই। মুসলিম ভাই, I have to now play the devil's advocate that হাদিসে কি আছে বলতে চাই না, still আমি বলি, is stoning to death. And among the Sahaba, it says in the Quran, in the Hadith, that the Sahaba has a disagreement on that. Someone says, no, I have seen that the ayah is there, the stoning to death ayah is there.
Which line is the stoning to death line at?
Number 8.
Yeah. So stoning to death ayah is there. And someone says that, no, it is not there. And it was in the house of one of Prophet Aisha, and it is lost. And it is lost. What is lost? Because the goat ate it. A goat ate the ayah. Yeah. Then someone made another comment, say, yes, if Allah wants to remove ayah, he can send the goat and eat it. I mean, do you believe all this story? Allah has said himself in the Quran, he protects the whole Quran, and whole Quran he protects, and the goat came in and eat the ayah. So if you want to believe this story, go ahead.
আমাদের মাহবুব ভাই অনেকক্ষণ যাবত হাত তুলে আছে, মাহবুব ভাই বলেন।
হ্যাঁ, আমি তো কয়েকটা ডায়ালগ শুনলাম। মুসলিম ভাই, আপনার ডায়ালগে আপনি রেফারেন্স দিচ্ছেন যে ওল্ড টেস্টামেন্ট আর বাইবেলের, কিন্তু আমাদের যেটা মানে অ্যাপ্রোচ, সেটা হচ্ছে আজকের ওল্ড টেস্টামেন্ট আর আজকের বাইবেল হ্যাজ বিন ডিস্টর্টেড। সো হোয়াট এভার রেফারেন্স, if there is a contradiction of these things, there is a question of validity of that thing. এবং সেই জন্যই আজকে এই দুইটা রিলিজিয়ন আলাদা হয়ে গেছে আমাদের কাছ থেকে। যদি আমরা যেটা বিশ্বাস করি সেটা হচ্ছে আনডিস্টর্টেড থাকলে এটা হতো না। ইসলাম ভাই আমি বলি আমি ইসলাম ভাই আমি একটু শেষ করি আমার সেকেন্ড কোশ্চেন হচ্ছে ইসলাম ভাই হোয়াট ইজ দ্য ডেফিনিশন অফ অ্যাডাল্টার এন্ড অ্যাডাল্টারেস আপনারা সবসময় ডিসকাস করছেন আফটার ম্যারেজ বিফোর ম্যারেজ what happens is that something
Mahbub, can I explain?
Achha,
Can I respond to your first question? I want to respond to your first question first.
Okay.
এটা একটা হাদিসে আছে, again Islam bhai may not like my quotation here. Hadise আছে a Jewish couple.
Let's speak Jewish couple for our youngster.
Yeah, a Jewish couple came to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They with a case of adultery. A Jewish couple. So then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam করেছে কি যে তোমাদের মানে then he invited experts on the Jewish authority. The Jewish কি বলেছে what should be the punishment? And the group of people who are experts in Jewish religion, they they said that the punishment for this kind of adultery is death, by stoning by death. And then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the judgment for them. They're Jewish couple, remember, because he said that I'm going to give the judgment based on your scripture, and based on their scripture, the judgment was for them to have stoned to death, and that's what happened. So if so that's one evidence that at that time, whatever the Jewish law was, and it was the law of stoning to death for adultery. However, this is supported by the existing the books, Old Testament and New Testament, and that's the reference that I'll give it to you.
So acha thik ache that I agree then I fully agree with that. But what about the Bible to emon kichu nai? Bible, New Testament and Old Testament এর ভিতরে big difference কিন্তু যেটা বাইবেলে যেটা নাই আমি একটা শেষ করি বাইবেলে নাই বলি নাই আমি সরি I should take it back যে বাইবেলটা তো আমরা এখনকার বাইবেলকে তো আমরা বিশ্বাস করি না we don't believe that thing so this has been distorted we believe now what part distorted what part is not distorted we don't know তারপরে হিস্ট্রি তো অনেক কিছু আছে আমি I can go through with you different ঈসা আলাইহিস সালামের লাইফ সম্পর্কে হিস্ট্রিতে অনেক কিছু আছে that is a different issue বাট আমার আরেকটা কোশ্চেন হচ্ছে সবসময় ইসলাম ভাই আমরা বলতেছি adulteress হচ্ছে আফটার ম্যারেজ what happens to the before marriage is that somebody does the same thing no
after marriage adultery no
so they are not adultery if they live together or if they
adultery without marriage if you live together it's adultery
without marriage you have to live together if you live it is adultery.
The definition of adultery is any unauthorized or illegal relationship between a man and a woman.
Okay, it doesn't matter or not.
Okay.
Outside marriage.
Outside marriage.
Assalamu alaikum bhaiya.
Actually, Muslim আমরা যে স্টোরি বলেন ইয়ে থেকে বাইবেল থেকে আমি বুঝলাম
হাদিস থেকে বলেছি
আমি আপনাকে আরেকটা স্টোরি বলি সেটা হলো the Bible says Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Will you believe that?
আমাদের সিস্টার কিছু বলতে চাচ্ছিল আমার মনে হয় সিস্টারদের সুযোগ দেওয়া উচিত
Assalamu alaikum bhaiya.
Abida.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm not going to go controversial. I'm just my feedback is that number one is that many women I came to know that they claim their husband is sleeping or whatever they are doing adultery in their life, whether business trip or could be whatever. And then they're saying men are allowed to marry 4 times in the Islam. Due to that, whenever they go to further adultery, they make it valid by marrying called what do you call that temporary marriage something like that muta marriage yeah something like that so they do that and they make it validate but on the other hand when woman goes each woman cannot do it and many time I come to in my experience or talking many times men are not capable to have their performance, whatever you say, you can understand in their love life. But women at that time, since they're married to the particular person, have children, they don't go anywhere. Okay. But I also heard men talking and saying, I have a wife and my wife is not capable of performing her part in whatever, that part. So my point is that where we see the, exception on the time, place, and situation to understand, is it people God asked women to suffer or men to suffer for that? Or is it the better to come to the table and you be open and discussion, say, hey, this is not working, this is this, let's see. And I know, excuse me, sorry, bad allergy. I know men, husband or wife, they have common understanding because of either one of their partners performs lack of performance, and they said, okay, if we get divorced in America, that you have to split the properties, blah, blah, blah. So you do whatever you do, it's okay. But as long as you are not legally divorcing each other, because when divorce come in the US, you split the property, finance, everything, you know that. So my question is how we, as this century, this time, we talk about those. And also you say the 4 people have the witness. How do we know that 4 people are telling the truth? And if they admit they had something, whatever they did, if they get married, that should be acceptable. And I'm not in support of adultery or not support, but if my client come talk about this, I like to understand the person, not only religious point of view. I also not accepting that, but I will respect to their opinion, what they're talking about, the issues in the marriage life. That's it.
Okay. I can answer a part of it. This ayah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given in Surah An-Nur is for the believers, not the disbeliever, and not the hypocrite, not the munafiqun. It's only for the believers. Believers follow the Quran and nobody else, other people follow it. So if you find 4 witnesses, your 4 witnesses has to be believer who will swear in the name of Allah 4 times. Think of that. Who will swear in the name of Allah 4 times that yes, I have seen her or I have seen him to do this thing. And the 5th time is even dangerous, and he'll say that if I speak the lie, Allah's curse will be upon me. That's why you have to trust him.
Okay.
I got this part of the answer. The other part I didn't understand.
It's talking on road.
I think Appa's overall discussion has too many things. That's why probably
after listening everything,
yeah,
and my experience, I know.
Yeah, you added.
I know. Sorry, Bhaiya. I know many Arabian guys. They go to many countries. I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell you is I know that, and I have evidence because they go overseas in many places, and they have find a person to sleep, and they make it validate by the temporary, whatever you call it, for the 7 days or 14 days, and women need the finance and support, and men give the pleasure, get the pleasure. Both ways it work out. And it doesn't work out for female. That I'm trying to tell you.
Sister Avina, let me answer you. This is
sorry, brother.
This is totally outside the Quran. The Quran never speaks when a muta marries. Absolutely not. Where did it come from? Of course, it came from Hadith. Those people write their books in their own hands. Why? Because they can sell on a paltry price, make money, become famous. These are not in the Quran. And the thing which is not in the Quran, if any country as a whole, as a society, they observe it, it's upon them. It doesn't go with the religion. So mutamari, I know, is very rampant in Iran, in many places. And people go there, they have money, they get married, then they divorce. There's nothing to do with the Quran or Allah's rulings. Allah never say that you marry.
Okay,
a quick,
so
quick
you're
comment,
saying
you know,
Islam
we
Bhai.
can have the discussion later on this muta marriage thing. In fact, Billa and I had, you know, spent a few minutes last week talking about this. And so we cannot say categorically that it is not in Quran. There is some reference to it in Quran. However, how we interpret it, yeah, so to reference to muta marriage. Yeah, so, but I don't want to discuss it.
I want to get that. Thank you, Aya, for.
Yeah, I think the surah ayat number is, let me see.
424. 424.
জামান ভাই কিছু বলতে চাচ্ছেন।
Surah number
424.
Maybe by this time I can tell brother Zaman, he's raising hand also.
This is actually Brother Zaman's wife.
Oh, Zaman. Okay, go ahead.
Can I say something?
Please.
Yeah. So I think here could see a lot of questions regarding যে ভদ্র মহিলা accuse করলো কিন্তু এই দেশে কোনো শাস্তি পেল না. So I want to refer to one, Mamun also asked that question. So I want to refer to Surah Marij. Just as a general answer to that question, there are 8 criteria যারা saved হবে. আল্লাহ শাস্তি কি দিবে না আমরা বলতে পারবো না, কিন্তু আল্লাহ ক্রাইটেরিয়া দিয়ে দিয়েছে যারা saved হবে সেই দিন, যেই দিন খুব ভয়াবহ হবে, ডে অফ জাজমেন্ট, যারা এবং এটার অ্যান্সার আল্লাহ দিয়েছেন যে মানুষ যখন প্রশ্ন করতো রাসূলুল্লাহ সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি ওয়াসাল্লামকে যে কবে তোমার সেই কিয়ামত হবে, কবে এগুলি ত্বরান্বিত করার জন্য প্রশ্ন করতে হতো, সেটার অ্যান্সারে আল্লাহ একটা ক্রাইটেরিয়া দিয়েছে এবং সেই 8টা ক্রাইটেরিয়ার মধ্যে একটা ক্রাইটেরিয়া আমি কি একটু শেষ করতে পারি এটা?
হ্যাঁ, করেন আমি মিউট করে দিই।
এই 8টা ক্রাইটেরিয়ার মধ্যে একটা ক্রাইটেরিয়াই হচ্ছে ইলিসিট ম্যারিটাল রিলেশনশিপ, যারা সেই দিন সেভড হবে এবং দে উইল বি এন্টাইটেলড টু দ্য গার্ডেন্স অফ প্যারাডাইস। এবং তার মধ্যে প্রথম ক্রাইটেরিয়া হচ্ছে যারা হু পারফর্ম প্রেয়ার and who are constant in their prayer, and those whose wealth is acknowledged due for the beggar and the deprived, which means they give the zakat. Those who affirm the day of judgment, jara bishwash kore day of judgment e, এবং তারা ভয় করে তাদের পানিশমেন্ট অফ দেয়ার লর্ড, এবং তারপরে হচ্ছে ট্রুলি দেয়ার ইজ নো সিকিউরিটি ফ্রম দ্য পানিশমেন্ট অফ দেয়ার লর্ড। দ্যাট মিনস আল্লাহর পানিশমেন্ট থেকে কেউ রেহাই পাবে না যদি তারা অন্যায় করে। এবং তারপরে হচ্ছে গিয়া দোজ হু গার্ড দেয়ার প্রাইভেট পার্টস and from their মানে তাদের স্পাউস এবং তাদেরকে যেটা লিগাল সেটা ছাড়া, কিন্তু whoever seeks beyond that, they are the transgressors. Those who abide by their trusts and their pacts and who uphold their testimony. তার মানে আরেকটা ক্রাইটেরিয়া হচ্ছে যে you have to be truthful, and তোমাকে কোনো ট্রাস্ট দেওয়া হলে you have to uphold that testimony. And again, last year arekbar bola hoyse those who are mindful of their prayers, those who will be entitled to the paradise, the guardians of paradise, honor. So these are the 8 criteria man or woman have to fulfill to go to be entitled to the guardians of paradise. So Allah shasti theke keu rehai pabe na, whatever shasti they do. But, and this is also said, illicit sexual relationship. So I think it covers everything. So I just wanted to add that Surah Marij, from ayah number 21 through, I'll give you the ayah number, 8 criteria, and Surah number 70. Thank you.
মাশাআল্লাহ। এখন আমি একটু ইসলাম ভাই আপনাকে বলবো সূরা আল নিসার 24 নাম্বার আয়াতটাকে একটু এক্সপ্লেইন করবেন। আপনি মিউটে আছেন ইসলাম ভাই, কারোর কাছে কোরআন থাকলে আপনারা দেখতে পারেন। সূরা আল নিসা 24 আয়াত। এটা পড়েন, একটু অর্থটা পড়েন, তারপর একটু আমার কথা বলেন।
Yeah, Mamun, আমার ধারণা যে it will take some time. We can have a separate discussion on that because Surah 4, I know what you are referring to. So it will take some time, and so I suggest that we have this discussion at another meeting.
ইনশাআল্লাহ, but I'm saying আমি একটু briefly আমি ইসলাম ভাইয়ের কাছ থেকে শুনতে যাচ্ছি যে what his opinion.
That and forbidden to you are married women. I mean, you cannot marry another married woman, except such as your right hand possesses. And right hand possessor ortho holo that when you're in the war with the disbeliever, you conquer them and you get their women, get their money and everything. So those are the women with the right hand possesses, and you can get married to those women. This has Allah has explained and joined on you, and Allah has the commandment that you can marry, and allowed to you those beyond that you seek them by means of your property and property. So besides that, you can get married by offering property or money, because we always need dowry. Don't forget, when you get married, you pay the dowry, the price for it. And if you have more money, and if that lady agrees, surely you will get married. Marrying them properly, and you have to marry them properly by offering money or whatever it is, not forcefully. And not committing fornication, and you cannot make any adultery. And for the benefit you receive from them, give them their dowries, in the money and plus dowries as fixed, and there shall be no sin for you. No sin for anything you mutually agree. If you mutually agree with the lady that you give him money, give her money, give her dowry, and she agrees, there's no problem.
And is this called muta marriage?
No, this is not. I'm going to tell you muta marriage. For the fixing of the dowry, Allah is muta marriage is a temporary marriage. There is no such thing as the temporary marriage Allah mentioned of anything. This is the come from hadith, and that hadith many people call invalid. But in some country they follow it. This is nothing to do with Allah, nothing to do with the Muslim, nothing to do with the Quran. There is no muta marriage.
তাহলে 24 যেটা বলেছে সেটা হচ্ছে সেটাও আরেকটা ম্যারেজ, তাই তো?
After marriage, you marry those slave girls which you right and possession, you own them, you defeated the enemy and got their women. This is a total different thing.
আচ্ছা, সেটাই আমি বোঝার চেষ্টা করছি। Thank you. That's it.
আমি একটা কথা বলি, আমাদের এই ডিসকাশনটা let us confine within the Quran, not go through the debate for the hadith. Hadith ki topics আছে না আছে, just confine with the Quran. If there is nothing reference, let's leave it like that. Otherwise we will go for off and on, hours and hours together to discuss these topics and the very hadith.
Yeah. So far, I think we are in a Quran. Go ahead.
With regard to that ayah, as Mustafa said, I think there is a lot of discussion has taken place, and I think Mustafa is right. Probably there is. I think we need another discussion probably on that particular topic. This is an important one because some Muslim countries do follow that, as Islam has said, especially Iran and some other countries, and even Saudi Arabia, I guess, to some extent.
Now, my question ছিল যে I want to differentiate that. Is there anything from this ayah has anything to do with them? But he already answered it. I got my answer. That I was looking for whatever I was looking for. Thank you.
Okay. But there is a word called istim. Yeah. Okay. I think I know. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. I think this is what Islam said. I think is okay.
Yeah.
Guys, Mohammed Zaman wants to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Zaman.
Assalamu alaikum.
For this time, your brother.
Yes, it's not Muhammad Zaman. Okay, I'm just continuing on that what Islam said about what your right hand poses. So yes, like if you have slave at that time from that war, like, it comes to your possession, you can, Allah said how to do that. It's like, that's the point actually when that for marriage came, that if you can establish justice on them, then he permitted, okay, you can get married. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that for marriage actually came from that ayat, from that provision, that
Right.
if when your right hand poses that were, slave, if you can establish justice on them, you have permitted to that for marriage, basically. Now people use, indiscriminately about for marriage. So another comments I have is, there is a verse in Quran, Allah said that you don't get married for sex. Marriage should not be for sex. So if you, connect all these ayats, you'll see what kind of, provisions Allah, allowed and not. So marriage for sex is not actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed. Okay, that's my comment.
MashaAllah. I think
So that means it goes to that muta marriage. So muta marriage only purpose is sex. And Allah said that you cannot have marriage just for sex.
And very
There is no such a marriage called temporary marriage. That's prostitution. You have to differentiate this.
Yeah, nobody disagreeing. Islam Bhai, I'm saying, we're just trying to connect the dot, and it is very clear. It is very clear that anything what the Surah 24, whatever Ayah 24 from Nisa has explained, and whatever Brother Zaman just explained, and whatever Islam Bhai has explained, Alhamdulillah, we are on same page. Definitely, the foremarriage is permitted, but considering those right hand possessed, and if somebody agrees, both party agrees, and the other things, everything is haram. Very simple. So we don't need to even discuss too much on this. And for the young generation, there's a haram, haram, haram. That's it.
Yeah. So
Mamun, can I make a comment here?
Yeah.
Mamun, can I make a comment?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Just to make a comment on what Brother Islam just mentioned, that muta marriage and the prostitution, exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing in my view, and also in terms of the application. Muta marriage, as you all understand, temporary marriage for a specific amount of money, for a specific amount of time. Prostitution is actually the same thing.
Right.
10 minutes, just exactly the same thing. So I basically agree with Islam by 100%. The muta marriage is nothing but prostitution.
Exactly.
Acha, Mamun.
Yes.
তোমার বইতে তো অনেকটা প্যারেনথেসিস আছে। এই আয়াতে কোনো প্যারেনথেসিস আছে নাকি? দেখো তো।
Yeah, that's something. You're right. আছে আপনার প্রথমটাই আছে লিখছে also parenthesis এ লেখা আছে forbidden are, তো এখানে আছে also women already married except those parenthesis এ আছে captives and slaves whom your right hands possess. Thus has Allah obtained for you. All others are lawful, provided you seek, bracket লেখা আছে them in marriage, with mahar, bracket লেখা আছে bridal money given by the husband to his wife at the time of marriage from your property, desiring chastity, not committing illegal sexual intercourse. It's very clear. It says not illegal sexual intercourses. So with those
illegal parenthesis,
no, illegal open. Not committing illegal sexual intercourse is open. So with those of whom you have enjoyed sexual relations, give them their mahar as prescribed. But if after a mahar is prescribed, you agree mutually, then parenthesis say to give more, there is no sin on you. Surely Allah is ever all-knowing, all-wise.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So Alhamdulillah, I think it's clear, and I believe that with our strong taqwa, we know by now at this age that what is halal, what is haram, And this is, I think, most of the people who make kind of BS doing this muta marriage and all these things to take on their own advantage. We should not, should not really talk about it. Okay.
Mamun,
Yes,
we should not use the term BS here, I guess, because
I'm sorry for this language, but I'm just
but because if you dive deep, that's why I say that today is not a good day to discuss this. If you dive deep into this ayah with the meaning, exact meaning of the Arabic language, then you will find a different answer than what you got today. That's what my
Inshallah, আমার মনে হয় আমরা এটা নিয়ে পরে আরো ডিটেল করতে পারি. This is a good thing. Good thing. I mean, I'm happy that we are discussing. So I don't want to expand too much today. It's already 8 minutes past the hours. And if anyone, any sisters, any youngster has any question or anything, that we should go, because some of us, we talk too much today. But if anyone, Shayan, Tasin, do you guys have any question?
Yeah. So the whole thing in regards is that adultery is wrong.
Yes.
It's a man and woman.
Yes.
Also, you have to pay for a wedding that you and the wife, or vice versa, choose, correct?
Basically, if some woman is on your right hand position, let's, for instance, Brother Zaman was giving an example that maybe there is a war, or from the war somebody survived, that woman came to your home, and or a slave who is under your supervision or something. You cannot really keep that slaves or somebody illegally in your home. So that with this doher or something, you can legally marry up to 4 persons.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. Any other sister has any question? I know that many sisters in the call. Some of them are very quiet. Any question from sister side? Okay. I think brothers.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, sister.
Okay, I'm sorry, I lost it. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is the microphone is on, my one?
Yeah.
Thank you. So now you said, if you're in possession of slave, number one, or female after the war, what happened if this man under your possession, if we're female?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go. I'm just going to, brother, don't take it personally.
What is the question?
Brother,
Okay.
don't take it personally. I'm
No.
Listen.
I'm learning. We are open discussion here. Islam, what she is saying, that if man can legally marry 4 persons, giving the door or whatever, why is that woman can do the same? I think this is her question.
Yeah, the reason is, I think, in the parenthood, because if a woman marry 4 husbands, she doesn't know who is the father.
Okay, brother. In this case, woman is not married. Woman doesn't have any children. Woman is a woman, grown-up woman who has money, and he's after the war. She wants to keep the man who was defeated in the war and in her shelter. Let's think about that scenario.
If somebody does forcefully something rape her, and she doesn't know who is the father, that's a different story. But normally a woman is not allowed to marry 4 men, because
no, I'm not talking about marriage. I'm talking about if a woman, she has financial thing, and after the war, that there's some male, it could be older, younger, I don't know what is that age, suppose any age. So they want to, and she wants to give the shelter in her home.
You're saying without marriage?
Yeah, they cannot do it because of female, right?
Yes.
Okay. If that is this, but man can do it, give a shelter to women, but woman cannot give shelter to any opposite sex. Is it?
No, you will give a shelter in a different house. Why do you have to keep her in your house? You find another house and give her shelter. Or you find another house, you give him a shelter. Then you don't have to bring him in the bedroom.
So you talking about shelter in your own home.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Shelter
if there's
doesn't have to be in your home. The shelter has to be a separate home, separate room, separate entity.
Why
And
doesn't man do it the same thing? I'm sorry.
No, men cannot bring another women.
Sister Abida,
Another
anything.
separate. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Logical. Sorry.
Sister Abida, we are not going by the logic. We are going by the Quran.
Yeah, I know that.
So
I
as
can
per
see that.
Quran,
Yeah.
whatever Allah has prescribed, the
Yes.
man
Yes.
can do for legal marriage, and if that requirement fulfill the minimum criteria being prescribed, men can do it, but women cannot. Period. So that's
Yeah.
what we, a lot of people can logically debate on this, but we're not going to debate because we are going
Yeah.
strongly with
I got
the
that.
Quran, inshallah.
I got that because
Got
I got that, honestly speaking. And a lot of time, I also see it's called sexism. So I see it as being a woman, doesn't matter, woman or not. But I don't think is a different role. Man has a different role, woman has a different role. And I'm talking about that, not the same home. But I also think that what happened in that time, women were probably not that much, independent. Now women are more independent, right? So not even in Bangladesh. So that point I'm trying to see. And I saw in Arabian countries too, females had a lot of ways they're doing it. So I'm not going to go in controversy thing. I'm just accepting what
No,
it
don't
is.
say that because, making a comment, don't, I wouldn't do that. Let's not do that. Whoever doing what is in Allah's
Right.
judgment, Allah knows the best. And maybe this is a test for a woman, that maybe
Yeah.
Allah make women very powerful, make women, very rich, and Allah may be testing women
Right,
that way.
right.
So inshallah, we'll go strictly with Quran and Sunnah. That's about it.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right.
I'm just
No,
sharing.
okay.
I just want to add comments here. That is, a lot of time we just bring what this country, what that country in the name of Islam is doing.
Yeah.
Those are not the reference of Islam. So we should not bring those things. It's a different things. When we discuss about religion, we should be discussing what Islam says, not somebody is practicing in the name of Islam. So that's my comment.
Jazakallah. Okay, Brother Akhtar wants to say something.
Mamun, I want to want to make a comment.
Please.
Okay, so this is not the only thing in Quran we do not understand. There are many things we do not understand in Quran, and it is also mentioned in Quran that there are things you will not understand. Do not get hung up with that. Move on to the next.
Agreed.
So Muslim man can marry 4 things. I have 3 daughters. I will never like it. I don't like it. And for that reason, I'm not banned out of shape because it is in Quran. I'm a Muslim. I comply with that. I do not understand why it is there. And there are many other things in Quran I do not understand.
Right.
And Allah told us you'll never understand it. This is the way I kept it.
100%.
So in my view, spending too much time, they really don't have answer. Is kind of for me wastage of time. I don't think it helps anything.
Thank you, Brother Akhtar. I think Brother Haq Ikram, he's raising hand. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much again. Just one little it's called example to many questions by Sister Abida. There are lots of confusion among the women, both inside Muslim world and non-Muslim worlds, about Islamic views on women. Now, whatever said in the Quran is right. So there is one thing always we hear the complaint that Allah will reward the men with hur. But what is the reward for the woman? So I actually did not get any answer from many people, but one answer I got from what's the name? There's a great scholar. He said that Allah did not mention about the woman's reward. That doesn't mean that he will not reward them. He might have many times higher reward for the woman. If we do not see anything written about the woman, that doesn't mean that women are oppressed, women are neglected by Allah. So Allah knows the best. Oh, that scholar was Numan, scholar Numan. Yeah, thank you.
I will answer the question. This is totally wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned women and men separately in terms of reward and punishment. You'll find in many ayah, I don't know where you got this idea. Allah never said anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala separately reward the women.
No. I'm particularly saying only one example. Yes, of course, Allah will reward every man and woman, but about the who, that is the particular question.
About the who? About yes, what? Yes. Who?
Yeah, the reward for the men will be in Jannah, they will get.
Who is the neutral gender? It doesn't say that women or men or women.
Agreed.
Yeah, but we are not going to discuss about that, but I just explained that.
No, Ikram Bhai, what Islam Bhai says correct. It's a generic. Exactly.
The man or women.
And this is maybe Allah knows the best. It's for every soul. And after we passed away, we don't know our soul will take what type of form. A man or woman or what, we don't know. So that each soul will get a hor, which is what is that called? Hurpuri, which is the generic thing. And I do agree with Islam Bhai, yes. So everybody will get it, inshallah.
That's hope. That's hope. Yeah, to get the hur, you have to get first into Jannah. About that.
Exactly. So let's prepare for Jannah first.
I have an advice: get your Quranic syllabus ready and tick mark that what you have done and what you have not done. Whether you're what you're getting to Jannah or what you're getting outside, staying outside Jannah. Once you decide that, then think of the other things. Go by your syllabus, not by the books written by human being, and follow blindly and saying that, yes, I'm following my religion. That's not a religion. You follow the Quran, your syllabus, Allah has given the only book. The other writings by human writing are not divine. They're human committed, human writing. Allah never authorized them, Prophet never authorized them, the Caliphs never authorized them. They wrote themselves. Go ahead. Thank you.
So, Mamun, I think that it's getting late and we should probably close this session with the prayer from Islam Bhai. However, after you close the recording, I have an answer. I think I have an answer from an ayah to your question about, what in the United States, what will happen to somebody whose husband cheats and whatever, and she doesn't get justice. So I have I'll quote a ayah from Quran, and so, but that I want to do after the recording is over.
Okay. So, inshallah. Okay, so at this moment of time, inshallah, I don't want to make it too lengthy. Inshallah, Brother Islam, I want you to do a supplication, then we'll go from there.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم فطير السماوات والأرض اللهم أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة اللهم توفني مسلما والحقني بالصالحين اللهم فطير السماوات والأرض اللهم عليم الغيب والشهادة اللهم أنت تحكم بينهم فيما كانوا فيه يختلفون ربي يسر ولا توسر وتمم بالخير اللهم إني جعلني من التوابين وجعلني من المتطهرين وجعلني من عبادك الصالحين
آمين
اللهم إني أعوذ بك من عذاب الكفر ومن عذاب جهنم ومن فتنة المحيا والممات ومن شر فتنة المسيح الدجال اللهم اهدني فيمن هديت وعافني فيمن عافيت وتولني فيمن توليت وبارك لي فيما أعطيت وقني شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من وليت ولا يعز من عليت تبارك ربنا وتعالى. اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا شاهدين وغائبين الصغيرين وكبيرين والذكرين والأنثى. اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيه على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان. اللهم لا تحرمنا أجره ولا تضلنا بعده. اللهم أنت ربي لا إله إلا أنت خلقتني وأنا عبدك وأنا على عهدك ووعدك ما استطعت أعوذ بك من شر ما صنعت أبو لك بنعمتك علي وأبو بذنبي فاغفرني فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام وإليك يرجع السلام. حينا ربنا بالسلام وأكثر دار السلام. تبارك ربنا وتعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Allahumma. Thank you for joining the
Thank you.